You ever hear those stories about places that just disappear? Like whole towns wiped off the map?
You mean like those weird abandoned places?
No, not like that. Like something took out everyone and everything living.
That sounds like a horror movie. Please tell me this is just one of your theories and not some real-life nightmare.
One of my guys on the inside sent me this official report on an incident. Ever heard of Kiyodake?
No, I don't think so.
I'd be extremely surprised if you had, but some people do. The village isn't on any official records anymore. No maps, no government acknowledgement. It's like it was erased from existence. But people remember. Witnesses, a few leaked reports, whispers on the internet. And this has happened before. Towns, cities, villages all over the world. It even happened in the United States.
How does a whole village just get erased?
Here's what we know. About a year ago, a train carrying passengers made its usual nightly route through the rural mountains of Japan, passing through a small village called Kiyodaka. It was a quiet place, tiny population, maybe a few hundred people. Nothing out of the ordinary. But then, something happened. Something they don't want us to know about.
Like what?
First, the train stopped, abruptly, no warning. The conductor radioed in for help, but all they got was static. Then, the screaming started. By the time emergency responders arrived, 8 hours later, after loved ones of the train passengers reported that they never reached their destination, the town was in embers. Bodies were burned beyond recognition.
You're telling me an entire village and a trainload of people just died overnight in a fire, with no survivors? Someone had to have gotten out alive, and there has to be some kind of explanation. Some kind of accident.
Actually, there was one survivor, but no one believes her. Everyone thinks she's mentally ill. There's no doubt she saw something that night. The official story is some natural disaster or accident, toxic gas leak, unstable ground. Insert any excuse. But that woman tells a different story. She talks about creatures.
Wait, what?
Yeah, something unnatural. She described people losing their minds, turning on each other like animals, not just attacking, but changing. Some of them got faster, stronger. And then there were others, things that weren't human at all. Something infected them, some kind of biological weapon or, I don't know, something worse.
So what, like zombies? Mutants? You're starting to sound like one of those conspiracy people.
That's what they said too, until she disappeared. Journalists who got too close, people asking the wrong questions. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. The Japanese Special Operations Group, basically their version of Delta Force, was sent in. They were tasked with containment before anything could leak to the public. But what they found, it wasn't just some accident. It was something way more sinister.
Okay, well, let's stop wasting time and let's read this damn report.
All right, here we go. The mist clung to the dense forests of rural Japan, shrouding the secluded mountain village of Kiyodake in an eerie silence. The village lay nestled between rolling hills, its traditional wooden houses and tiled roofs, bathed in the pale glow of scattered lanterns. A lone train track sliced through its heart, but the stillness was unnatural. Shattered glass littered the streets, and the air carried a faint, unnatural scream that faded into the night. A rusting train sat motionless on the tracks, its steel frame scarred by signs of struggle. Something had gone terribly wrong. Hundreds of miles away in Tokyo, the Special Operations Group, SOG, trained in their secure underground facility. The team's leader, a hardened and respected soldier, demonstrated unmatched precision as he cleared a simulation room in seconds. His reputation as a perfectionist stemmed from an old wound, a failed hostage rescue that had cost innocent lives. He carried that burden, ensuring no mission ever ended the same way. His squad, a team of elite operatives, trained alongside him. Their session was interrupted when an emergency summons arrived. A level red incident had been declared. In the briefing room, officials detailed the bizarre crisis unfolding in Kiyodake. Reports indicated that passengers aboard a train traveling through the village had turned violent, attacking one another without provocation. The area had been quarantined under the guise of a gas leak, all roads blocked. Officials feared the use of a biological weapon, possibly a terrorist attack. The mission was clear: identify and neutralize hostiles, investigate the source of the outbreak, and recover any survivors. The squad leader gave his team a silent nod as they geared up, the weight of the mission pressing down on them. This time, he would not fail. The SOG flew toward Kiyodake in a Boeing CH-47 Chinook, the mountainous terrain stretching beneath them. One of the operatives murmured, "Do you think we'll figure out what's causing this? Or are we just fighting ghosts?" The team leader responded without hesitation, "Ghosts or not, we end the threat. That's our job." The Chinook hovered low as the operatives listened to the last known radio transmissions from Kiyodake. The village had gone silent. Aerial drone footage showed villagers running into the forests, pursued by dark figures moving with inhuman speed. 5 hours after the initial outbreak, a helicopter touched down a kilometer outside the village. The operatives disembarked, boots crunching against gravel. The village lay ahead. An uneasy silence filled the air. The squad advanced slowly through the outskirts. A police car sat abandoned, its lights still flashing, doors open. A discarded shotgun lay nearby, its barrel bent unnaturally. The radio inside the vehicle crackled, static, interrupted by a faint voice muttering something incoherent. The squad leader signaled a halt as they passed a gas station. One of the operatives inspected a security camera feed from a cracked monitor inside. The footage looped a scene of chaos, shadowy figures lunging at screaming civilians before the feed cut to static. Scattered around the store were half-eaten food items, suggesting someone had been there recently, possibly a survivor. The team moved cautiously through the forest. The fog had thickened, swallowing the forest in an impenetrable white shroud. The SOG operatives moved in formation, their rifles raised, visors scanning through the dense mist, but visibility was almost non-existent. The silence was suffocating, not even the sound of the wind rustling through the trees. The squad leader raised his fist, signaling a halt. "Something's wrong," he muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. Then, the sound of feet rushing over dead leaves. Fast, too fast. A snarling figure lunged from the fog, its pale, disfigured face twisted in rage. Gunfire erupted, cutting through the silence like thunder. But for every one they shot down, more emerged from the mist, clawing, biting, moving with unnatural speed. "They're too close! Switch to blades!" the squad leader commanded. In one swift motion, the team sheathed their rifles and drew their katanas, the sound of steel slicing through the air as they braced for combat. The first creature lunged at one of the operatives, its jaws snapping wildly. With lightning-fast precision, the soldier sidestepped and sliced cleanly through its neck, sending the head tumbling into the fog. Another rushed from behind, but the squad leader spun effortlessly, his blade cutting diagonally across its chest, blackened blood spraying onto the forest floor. The mist became a blur of slashing steel and monstrous shrieks. The SOG moved like ghosts, their mastery of the blade unparalleled, each strike precise, controlled, and lethal. One operative delivered a fluid, sweeping cut, severing two creatures at once, while another parried an oncoming strike before stabbing upward through its jaw. And then, silence. The forest stood still once more. Only the heavy breaths of the squad and the corpses littering the ground remained. The fog drifted lazily over the fallen, as if consuming them into the earth. One of the soldiers nudged a body with his boot. These were people. His voice was low, disturbed. Villagers. The squad leader knelt, gripping his katana tightly. The bodies were twisted, disfigured, some barely recognizable as human anymore. Yet, there were remnants, torn clothing, faded memories of what they once were. "What the hell happened to them?" another operative muttered. The squad leader exhaled sharply. Something changed them. Before anyone could answer, a distant scream cut through the fog. The team snapped to attention. The sound was coming from the village, advancing toward Kiyodake. The first sight of the village sent a chill down their spines. Doors hung open, windows shattered, belongings abandoned mid-motion. An overturned food cart sat in the middle of the street, its contents spilled onto the ground. A dog, its fur matted with blood, whimpered from beneath a porch, eyes wide with terror. A scream tore through the silence, followed by a guttural, animalistic growl. The squad leader clenched his jaw. "Stay focused. Move out." The team split into two squads. One advanced toward the train station, while the other searched the residential area. The streets were littered with evidence of struggle. Bloodied handprints smeared against walls, claw marks gouged into wooden beams. A radio crackled in the distance, emitting only static. At the train station, the squad leader's team found the platform in disarray. Blood streaked the walls, discarded luggage lay scattered, and the train's open doors revealed only darkness within. Inside, the air was thick with decay. Then, a movement. A hunched figure lunged from the shadows, bloodshot eyes wild with rage. The creature attacked with unnatural strength, forcing the operatives to fire. The gunfire echoed through the train, drawing more twisted figures from the darkness. One of them moved differently, unnaturally fast, its limbs twitching erratically before launching itself at the squad. At the same time, the second squad encountered infected villagers in the residential district. These were faster, more violent. The operatives struggled to contain the threat, and one of them sustained a deep wound in the chaos. They fell back into a house, barricading the doors as the infected clawed and slammed against them. The squad leader's team reached the train's engine room and discovered a shattered canister embedded in the floor. A biohazard symbol marked its surface. The worst had been confirmed. This was a biological attack. As the team regrouped, the infected became more coordinated, launching ambushes that forced them to retreat to the village shrine. Supplies were dwindling, and the injured operative was fading fast. Desperate radio transmissions came through their earpieces, fragments of other teams, barely holding on. The squad leader faced a grim reality. If they didn't find a way out soon, they wouldn't survive the night. Then, a sound. A helicopter circled overhead before a .50 caliber machine gun roared to life, mowing down the advancing infected. As the helicopter hovered above, figures in advanced black hazmat tactical gear fast roped down, moving with seamless precision. The mysterious operatives secured the perimeter. Their leader, his face concealed behind an advanced helmet. "Who are you?" the squad leader demanded. "It doesn't matter," the operative replied. "We just saved your lives." The squad leader gestured to the helicopter. "Why didn't you extract us?" The operative's tone was cold. "We're not here for you." A sniper's voice crackled in his ear. "More are coming." At ground zero, they found the nightmare-made flesh, a monstrous infected being, larger than any human, muscles rippling beneath rotting flesh. The ground trembled as more infected swarmed them. The squad immediately took formation, unloading precise gunfire into the advancing horde. The creature in the center, the anomaly, moved with unnatural speed, absorbing bullets as though they were nothing. It lunged, slamming into an operative and hurling him across the street. The squad leader shouted commands, directing fire toward its exposed joints. Explosives rocked the battlefield, momentarily staggering the infected. The hazmat operatives moved in with ruthless efficiency, deploying incendiary rounds and specialized grenades designed to burn through infected flesh. Despite their efforts, the anomaly regenerated at an alarming rate. It twisted its grotesque form, extending clawed appendages that lashed at anything nearby. One operative barely dodged a swipe. His armor sliced open, revealing deep lacerations underneath. "Focus fire on its legs," the squad leader barked. The operatives adjusted their aim, targeting its knees. With a deafening crack, a well-placed explosive round shattered its left leg, sending it toppling onto the ground. But before they could capitalize on the moment, the horde surged forward again. A sniper positioned himself atop the wreckage, methodically taking down infected from a distance. Meanwhile, the squad leader pulls out his katana, engaging in brutal close-quarters combat against the smaller infected that managed to break through the perimeter. The fight turned desperate as ammunition dwindled. Then, the anomaly let out a piercing, unnatural screech. The horde suddenly became more erratic, attacking with even greater ferocity. The hazmat leader activated his communicator. "This thing is controlling them. We need to end it now." The squad leader grabbed a thermobaric grenade from his belt and turned to the hazmat team. "We hit it all at once." Coordinating their attacks, the operatives fired in unison, while the squad leader rushed forward, hurling the grenade directly at the creature's exposed chest cavity. A concussive blast ripped through the shrine, sending flaming debris and infected bodies flying in all directions. The anomaly let out a final, guttural wail before collapsing into itself, a mass of burning flesh and unnatural mutations. The horde faltered, disoriented without their leader. The operatives took advantage of the moment, cutting down the remaining infected. The final gunshot rang out, and then silence. As the battlefield settled, the helicopter returned, its rotor blades churning the smoke-filled air. The black-clad soldiers boarded, their mission complete. Before disappearing, the masked leader turned to the squad leader one last time. "We don't exist." Then they were gone, leaving only questions and a burning village in their wake.